In this video, I am going to discuss the myopathies. The myopathies are the disorder of the skeletal muscles. These disorders are caused by the direct injury to the muscles or the indirect injury to the nerves. And the indirect injury to the nerve will cause the denervation of the muscles, which lead to the atrophy of the skeletal muscles. There, we will discuss the three types or the number of the myopathies, including the inflammatory myopathy, toxic myopathy, or congenital myopathies, or the congenital muscular dystrophies. The inflammatory myopathy is further classified into three categories: dermatomyositis, polymyositis, dermatomyositis, and inclusion body myositis. The inflammatory reaction is more obvious in the polymyositis and dermatomyositis, but the inflammatory reaction is not very obvious in the inclusion body myositis. So we can call the inclusion body myositis as the inclusion body myopathy. Dermatomyositis, as the name suggests, it is a systemic autoimmune disease. It will involve the proximal muscles weakness, but along with the skin changes. Pathogenesis include the immunological disease. It may be the immunological disease which will cause the damage to the small blood vessels of the muscle, which leads to the muscular injury, ischemic muscular injury. Vasculopathic changes, and we can see these vasculopathic changes as the telangiectasias. Telangiectasias, spider-like dilated capillary loops. These dilated capillary loops we can see in the nail folds, eyelids, gums, drop out of the capillary vessels in the skeletal muscles. And the pathogenesis also include the complement activation, means the membrane attack, and it will involve the membrane attack complex C5 to B to C9 within the capillary beds in the skin and the muscles. It also includes the role of the type 1 interferon in the muscles and the leukocytes. We can, in the pathogenesis of the dermatomyositis, we can appreciate the number of the autoantibodies. These autoantibodies include the anti-Mi2 antibodies. These antibodies, Mi2 antibodies, are directly against the helicase, which is implicated in the nucleosome remodeling. And if the autoantibodies, Mi2 autoantibodies involved, it will cause the Gottron papules and heliotrope rash. And the other antibodies include the anti-JAW1 antibodies, which are formed against the histidyl transfer RNA synthetase. If these antibodies are present, it will cause the interstitial lung diseases and the non-erosive arthritis. If the antibodies P155, P140, the antibodies are against the P155 and P140, these are formed against the several transcription factor, and it is associated with the paraneoplastic syndrome and the juvenile cases of the dermatomyositis. Three types of antibodies: Mi2 antibodies, JAW1 antibodies, P155. Mi2 against the helicase, JAW1 histidyl transfer synthetase, and the P155, P140 against the several transcription factor. This autoantibody is associated with the Gottron papule heliotrope rash. This antibody is associated with the interstitial lung disease and the non-erosive arthritis or the skin rash. These rashes will be mechanical rash, and this antibodies are associated with the paraneoplastic syndrome and the juvenile cases of the dermatomyositis. And other the pathogenesis in the inflammatory myopathies also include the role of the B lymphocytes and the plasma cells in the muscles. So the quick review is it will involve the immunological reactions, activation of the complement system, role of the type 1 interferon, the autoantibodies, and the role of the B lymphocyte and the plasma cells. Now come to the morphology in the dermatomyositis. Muscular biopsy will show the infiltration of the mononuclear inflammatory cells in the perimysial connective tissue and around the blood vessels, because there is an obvious injuries to the blood vessels of the muscles. And we can also appreciate the perifascicular atrophy, which is the myofiber atrophy present at the edges of the fascicles, muscle fascicles. There will be a segmental fiber necrosis and the regeneration. Mononuclear inflammatory cells, perifascicular atrophy, segmental fiber necrosis. Immunohistochemical, we will appreciate the role of the CD4 helper T cells as well as the membrane attack complex. In the electron microscopy, we will see the tubulo-reticular endothelial cells inclusion, which is due to the type 1 interferon response. Now come to the clinical features. The clinical feature include the muscle weakness, which is slow in onset and it will symmetrical. Myalgias, and the muscle will in the early stages of the disease, the proximal muscle will be involved. Like the patient will have the difficulty in getting up from the chairs or the climbing the stairs, and later the distal muscle will also be involved, and the fine movements of the patient will be disrupted. There will be because there is a segmental fiber necrosis, so means there is a muscle injury, obvious muscle injury, so there will be elevation in the serum creatine kinase. And the number of the rashes I have told you in the pathogenesis. The one was heliotrope rash. These rash are the lilac colored discoloration of the upper eyelid. These rashes will present along with the periorbital edema, and these rashes are due to the antibodies which are formed against the helicase enzyme. And the Gauthran's papule, these are the scaling erythematous eruption or the dusky red patches over the knuckles, elbows and the knees. This is basically due to the same autoantibodies that are formed against the helicase enzyme. And there will be a dysphagia because of the involvement of the oropharyngeal and esophageal muscles. And there will be a interstitial lung diseases because it's a systemic autoimmune disease. There will be a cardiac involvement, and the juvenile, if they're present in the juvenile age, if it's the form of the juvenile dermatomyositis, it will present in the juvenile. If it is the juvenile dermatomyositis, it will present in the 7 years of age, and along with we can see the calcinosis, lipodystrophy, and the children have a better prognosis. If dermatomyositis is present in the adults, it will involve it will present in the 4th to 6th decades of life, and it's commonly associated with the malignancy. Now come to the polymyositis, which is the other form of the inflammatory myositis or the inflammatory myopathy. It is the adult onset inflammatory myopathy. It is same as dermatomyositis, but what is the difference between the polymyositis and dermatomyositis? In the dermatomyositis, there is a skin involvement, but in the polymyositis, there is no skin involvement. In the dermatomyositis, there is also juvenile form, but polymyositis is only the adult form. It is the adult onset of the inflammatory myopathy. Myalgias, weakness has same with the dermatomyositis but lack the cutaneous features. Pathogenesis involves the CD8 cytotoxic T cells inflammatory infiltrate in the affected muscles. But in the dermatomyositis, there was a CD4 helper T cells. In the dermatomyositis, there was a vascular injury. But in the polymyositis, there is no vascular injury. So come to the morphology. Morphology is almost similar, but there are some differences. There is a mononuclear inflammatory infiltrates in the endomysial location. But in the dermatomyositis, there was these inflammatory infiltrates were present in the perimysial connective tissue. There will be degenerating, necrotic, regenerating, and the atrophic myofibers. These found in the random or the patchy distribution. But there in the dermatomyositis, there was a perifascicular atrophy. But in the polymyositis, the perifascicular atrophy is absent. Now come to the inclusion body myositis. Inclusion body myositis is a late adulthood disease and affect the patients having the age greater than the 50 years or the 65 years or older. They are slowly progressive muscular weakness, which is more in the quadriceps muscles and the distal upper extremity muscles. Quadriceps It will involve the quadriceps as well as the distal upper extremity muscles. So the fine movements and the walking will be affected more. Dysphagia, because of the esophageal and the pharyngeal muscle involvement. Because of muscular injury, there will be elevation in the creatine kinase. There we can appreciate the antibodies, which is the CN1A. Now come to the morphology of the inclusion body myositis. This first feature, the patchy endomysial mononuclear infiltrate of the CD4 T cell, which is similar to the polymyositis. And there is this increased sarcolemmal expression of the MHC1 antigen. There will be a focal invasion of the normal appearing myofibers by the inflammatory infiltrates. Okay, if the myofiber is normal, but there will be a infiltration of the inflammatory cells, and there will be admixed, degenerating and the regenerating myofibers. These are the features which is the admixed of the polymyositis and dermatomyositis. And now come to the specific feature which will present only in the inclusion body myositis. These specific features include abnormal cytoplasmic inclusion, because it's the inclusion body myositis in the form of the rimmed vacuoles. There will be a tubulofilamentous inclusions of the myofiber, and these cytoplasmic inclusion includes the protein associated with the neurodegenerative diseases like beta amyloid. We can see the beta amyloid in Alzheimer's disease, TDP-43, ubiquitin. These all proteins will be present in the cytoplasm. Endomysial fibrosis and the fatty replacement of the muscle fibers. The treatment of all the inflammatory myositis is are the drugs. Corticosteroid, if the patient is resistant to the corticosteroids, we can give the immunosuppressive drugs like azathioprine, methotrexate. We can give the IV and immunoglobulins like IV immunoglobulins, and other drugs include the cyclophosphamide, cyclosporine, rituximab.